This is the Arvala C Pro. This is beautiful. I love it. Yellow and black, totally love that. Bumblebee. It's got twin 1000 watt motors. It's got a huge battery, 26 amp hours with a 52 volt system. So that's what, about 1352 watt hours? If my math's wrong, I'll put it up there. Absolute beast. There are a couple things I really like. There's 2 or 3 quirky things that I'm not a big fan of. So I'm going to share with you what I like, what I don't like about the Arvala C Pro. Coming up next. There is another version, and it is a 60 volt version with a slightly smaller amp hours. So it's probably using the exact same battery, but a different controller. But so if a little bit more power is what you need, then the 60 volt version might be best. Let's check out these brakes. We'll get up to around 40, 35, and oh wow, that's quick. The Arvala C Pro has phenomenal power. Twin 1000 watts is getting this big guy. I'm currently 265. It's got a max weight allowed of 330 pounds, but it's pushing me all over the place with no problems whatsoever. Whether it's slippery grass or beautiful flat asphalt, this thing is tearing it up beautifully. A couple of things I really like about it so far is obviously the power. I love the fact that on the dash we've got the eco mode, the turbo mode, the single and dual, 1 through 2 and 3 motor levels if you like. The display itself is actually pretty decent. Even in this beautiful full sun, I can still see how fast I'm going, which is really important. It's also full color. And at night, the lighting, it's got beautiful lighting. It's got the indicators left and right, plus the light at the very front, illuminating everything. Now I did go, my very first ride actually was at night, and it poured down. I didn't realize it was going to pour down, but it poured down halfway through, so I came home. So the one thing I'm not a huge fan of are the mud guards, because I think they'll be pretty good for a little bit of rain, or maybe you're off-roading, which is a little bit more what this is designed for, but it's going to stop some of those, pebbles popping up and things like that. But for rain, no, you're going to get soaked. Other than that, so far, the battery size, obviously 26 amp hours, that's plenty of range. Holy cow. Now, what I'll probably do at some point in the near future is invite Jamie to do a range test so I can tell you exactly, or he can tell you exactly how far you can go with a 26 amp hour battery, 52 volts on the Arvala C Pro. But yeah, let's keep going. This is super fun. I'm going to share with you a couple of things in the next stop, what I don't like, and a couple of things about how to fold it up. Coming up next. It does get shipped with 3 NFC tags, which is super. You can just lock it and unlock it and walk away and know that somebody can't just ride off with it. With this beautiful backdrop, I'm going to share with you a couple of things I like and a couple of things I don't like about the C Pro. Let's start off with something I really like. And this is something that I find extraordinary because as a taller rider, I'm just over 6 feet tall, and I find that sometimes the scooter handlebar isn't quite high enough for me. So I'm going to show you this cool invention. Not only does it have a telescopic, which isn't unusual in electric scooter world, but not only is it telescopic, but it's dual telescopic. There are 2 pieces to the frame, giving you double the actual rigidity, which means if you're a little bit taller, you can crank it up, and if you're a little shorter, you can push it all the way down. I just think this is amazing. I find this so comforting because as a heavier rider, when you see these smaller pulls come up, you're like, oh, is that going to be quite as sturdy as just not having going up and down? So having the dual mount or the dual stem like this design, I think the engineering is fantastic. Something I'm not a huge fan of is the kickstand. I think the kickstand is just a little bit, it keeps the scooter just a little bit too erect, if that's the right word. But so sometimes it's a little challenging to actually get it to, not fall over. On this beautiful cement, it's perfectly fine, but sometimes in a grassy area, it's not a particularly robust kickstand is what I'm talking about. One of the other things I absolutely love, even though I love the color is yellow, well, that was perfect timing. It just stands out at night. It's fantastic. It's so bright. So when I've noticed that even during the night, like it poured down and the rain came down and everything was great. I got soaked, but it also had both the charging ports are protected. They're on top of the deck and there were no issues whatsoever. So quite literally, I was going through big, deep puddles, and even though it's not slated to be perfect in the wet, no issues whatsoever. Quirky thing. It's not that I don't like it, but for me, it's actually a really good fit. I really like the folding mechanism because I actually don't fold the scooter very often, but it's got this quirky little attachment at the front here, which is like a little single screw almost that screws into the actual stem. So let me show you what I mean. So you've got to unscrew this, depends on how many times you screw it in, and then you can fold it down, and then it's got a very traditional looking latch mechanism. Then you put it back up, but you can probably tell that little hole there is where that little screw is supposed to go in. Well, once you fold it up, it's actually tough to know where that hole is. So I don't know, once it's in, it's good. Once I've screwed it down, that's good, because I never pick it up again. But as I said, I never fold it. So that's, you know, that's kind of quirky. And in the other area, the folding area that I'm not a big fan of is this hook back here. So the idea is you fold this down and then you're supposed to hook this on, but of course you have to make sure your handlebars are all the way down, then you hook it on here. Again, I'm not going to use this. So for me personally, I'm just going to unbolt this, file this thing down, because I find that really irritating when I'm standing on here. The deck is really big, which is a bonus, but because that's there, I find it kind of awkward and a little bit uncomfortable. Well, I've been riding around with Michael here all afternoon, and I think what I'm going to do is just give it the beans and see how fast this will go. So let's see here. Wait for this car to pull out, and then I'll go. We're doing 25 kilometers an hour. Here we go. Full power. 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Whoa. 50 kilometers an hour, no problem. Special thank you to Michael for riding around on this beautiful day with this, the C Pro, right from Arvala. Now, I absolutely think this is a super powerful scooter. It's got a little bit of competition in the marketplace, but it's also very competitively priced. So, you know, you're probably comparing this to the Apollo Ghost and the Arvala Eagle 1. So, what do I think? Well, first of all, 2 big thumbs up. It's big guy approved. Big guy approved. Plenty of power. It smoked the hill of death. The hill of death. It's got terrific brakes. The hydraulic brakes on the next model up might be what you really want or need, but I'm finding these mechanical brakes are just terrific. Plenty of power. You got the horns. You've got the dual motors. Got an enormous battery. 26 amp hours is enormous. And if you're a little bit bigger, the peace of mind you get from this double stem, oh, I love that. So yeah, there are a couple of small little niggles, if you like, the little peculiar part with the folding mechanism, the little catch on the deck, which, you know, you can remove, and maybe the kickstand isn't perfect. But you know what, overall, it's a phenomenal scooter, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. So if you're interested, what I could do is do a comparison between the Apollo Ghost and this, or the Arvala Eagle 1. I have them both. Maybe I give that a comparison. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to see that comparison, put that down in the notes down below. And if you're interested in buying one of these and you'd like to support the channel, I'll put a link down below as well.